Okay, let me start sharing my screen. Just give me 1 second, guys. Disable. Okay. So I hope everyone is clear with conditionals, right? So conditionals we finished in last class, and to be very honest, conditionals is a simple topic, right? It's not that difficult. It's more about your now solving more problems and trying to implement your ideas and concepts through problem solving, right? So yeah. So what is the topic for today, right? So we will be starting off with loops. We'll start with loops, okay? So okay, I think we are 4 people. Okay, cool. We can start. Okay, cool. And any problem that you have in any assignment, right? So yeah, my health is good and it's better, definitely. Lit according to topics, not according to date. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, any questions that you have from the assignments like big light and all these things, right? So like we can discuss big light. I think big light is a little bit tricky question. So if time permits, I can take it today at the end for 5-10 minutes. I can discuss big light with you all, right? And see where most people are getting stuck. But provided we are on track for the entire class and we are able to cover up what we want to do, right? So I want to cover loops today. So let's get started with that. And towards the end, I can take up some of your assignment questions also. Okay. So, yep. Yeah, Anish, that's correct. Okay. So what are loops, or what are the basic idea of loops, right? Why do I even need loops in the first place? Okay. So think of it like this. So if you were, if you paid attention in my first lecture, right? Loops is just another part of the control flow. Okay. So when I was talking about the control block, right, which will be, controlling the flow of execution of my program, I talked about two important parts in there. Okay. Number one was conditionals. Okay. Which we have already discussed. And what was conditionals? Conditionals were basically giving me the power. The boss, based on a particular condition, I can take a decision of my own. So if the condition was true, I could have taken a different path. If the condition evaluated to be false, then I could have taken a different path. And inside conditionals, we studied about if else. What all we studied about? We studied about if, we studied about if else, and we studied about if else ladder, right? These three constructs we studied about, and we understood that yes, conditionals actually give me control over the flow of execution of my program, and I can control how my code is basically running. Now, the second part of this control flow, okay, or control block is loops. Okay. So today's discussion will be on loops. Okay. So now you will tell me, okay, how are loops even useful for us, right? How are even loops important? Why do I even study loops for the first place, right? Why do I study it? So let's take a very small example. Let's take a very small example and things might be clear with that. Okay. So let's say you are writing a piece of code. Okay. You are writing a piece of code. And let's say I want to print hello world for 5 times. Okay. Let's say I want to print hello world 5 times on the screen. So till now, with whatever I have learned, what is the only option available to me to print hello world for 5 times? What is the only option available to me till now? मुझे नहीं पता loops क्या होता. I don't know what is loops, right? So what I have to do is SOP hello world. I have to print. I write SOP hello world, and hello world is printed once. And then I have to write this same statement for 4 more times. So I have to write this system.out.println 5 different times so that hello world is printed to the screen 5 different times. Now, my voice is breaking. Vikash, I think it's not breaking. I think it's breaking for you only. Can you just have a look at your internet connection once and see if it betters up? Okay. Now, the problem with this was, see, there's no problem of writing system.out.println 5 times. But the thing is that, if I want to write it once, twice, or thrice, it's good, right? But if I want to do something 100 times, if I want to do something 50 times, if I want to do something 500 times, then do you think it is logical for me to repeat these lines of code again and again? No, definitely not, right? It will be very boring of you and me to write 100 different times system.out.println hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world. No, we don't want to do this repetitive task on our own. Okay, so that is where loops come to our rescue. Now, what does a loop do? See, we will basically be using loops whenever I want to repeat some lines of code again and again. Okay, so what does it mean? Let's say if you want to execute a line again and again, then you will be taking help of loops. Okay, so Karthik, we haven't discussed anything major till now. So what we have started with is the idea of loops. So I just told till now that, boss, if I want to print hello world for 20 different times, then I have to write system.out.println 20 different times. So I have to repeat these same lines of code for 20 different times on my own. Okay. Now, if I want to skip this repetition, I don't want to write the same lines of code again and again. I want to give power to my program. I want to tell to my program that, hey, program, this is a particular line. This is a line, let's say SOP hello world. Can you please execute these lines for 20 times? Okay, I want to give this power to my program. Ki, boss, please execute this line 20 times. Instead of me writing the line 20 times, I will write a construct here. Ki, boss, can you please execute this line for 20 times? So this is where we come to take use of loops. Okay, so loops are basically used for repeating, okay, for executing the same lines of code again and again until some condition is met or some condition evaluates to be, let's say, false or true, whatever. Okay, so that is the basic idea behind loops. Okay, now can anybody think of a very practical usage of loops in our day-to-day lives? Some application, something where you might think that a loop might be getting used there. Any idea? Songs. Okay, great. So yeah, music player. You can take an example of a music player. Okay. So if you take look of a music player, right? So what does happen? You see that there is a looping button, right? There is a loop button on the music player, right? So if you press the loop button, then what happens? The song will keep on playing again and again and again, right? Until you press this looping button once again. So this is a very, very practical example of a loop. Okay. So when you press this button now, so people have told the computer, okay, let's say the programmers have written code in such a way that, boss, when the user presses the loop button, please repeat this song again and again and again and again. Okay, please execute the song again and again and again and again, right? Till when? Now you will ask me, till when? Till when will my loop be executed? It should not be like this line is getting executed again and again and again and again and again without stopping. See, there has to be some termination point, right? There has to be some instance where your loop stops executing. Okay. So I tell you that, boss, till the point user doesn't press on this button once again, the song should be repeated and it should be played again and again. So this is a very, very practical example of a loop. Similarly, alarms. Yes, alarms is also an example of loops, right? Voice is breaking. Mr. Abhi, I think it's not breaking. Okay. I think try to join from the client once if it's, making things easier for you. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So this is the basic idea of loops, right? Ki, boss, in loops, whatever you write, right? So loops, the basic idea is, if I want to execute some lines of code again and again, okay, till some condition is true or false, let's say, right? So then I can put those statements inside my loop and then the loops will take care of them. Okay. But I think it's good to learn things through examples and problem solving, right? So what are the three different kinds of loops that we are going to study? Okay. So the three different kinds of loops that we will be studying is for loop. Okay. Then we will study while loop, and then we will study the do while loop. These three are the, these three kinds of loops we are going to study. And once we understand these three loops in detail, you will be clear with what purpose a loop is solving for you and where you might use you might use a loop for your problem solving purposes. Okay. So now let's come to a for loop. Okay, for each loop we will do Anmol when we talk about arrays, not at this point of time. Okay, so now let's come to a for loop. For loop. Okay, now for loop, right? So I think I'll be able to better explain by an example, right? By an example. So let me give you a very proper syntax or structure of how a for loop looks like. Okay. See, all the loops have some basic syntax which they follow, right? So what is the syntax or structure for a basic for loop? And then we will see how it actually works. Okay. So the basic syntax goes something like this. And see, 90% of the times you will, see this kind of a structure only written everywhere. So for, I'm writing it and then I'll explain everything. Don't worry. For int I equal to 0, I less than, let's say 5. I am writing a number here. I plus plus. Okay. And then within these curly braces, let us say I write here system.out.println hello world. Okay. So this is a very basic code that I have written at this point of time. Okay. So this is a very basic for loop, a very basic for loop, right? See, for, then within parentheses, you write these three things. Now, what are these three things? Let us try to understand. Okay. So first of all, let's try to understand what are the three basic parts of any loop, right? Or a for loop in this case. Okay. So if you look at this, right, this first part, see guys, do you agree that there are three parts of this for loop? See, separated by these semicolons inside the parentheses, there are three parts that you have to understand. If you understand these three parts, what are they actually doing? Then you will be able to understand how a for loop is exactly working. Okay. So the first part, this first part, right? For int I is equal to 0. Okay. I call this as my declaration / initialization of my looping variable. Okay. See, the variable I here, okay, ये जो I variable है ना, I call this variable I as my looping variable. Okay. Because I am keeping track of how many times my loop is running. Okay. Via the variable I. Okay. So this part for int I equal to 0, this is known as declaration / initialization of loop counter. Okay. Of looping variable or loop counter, whatever you want to call, you can call it. Okay. So see, what have I done? I have just declared the boss, there is a variable I and it has been initialized with 0. Int I is equal to 0. This is basically declaration and initialization of the loop counter. Okay. Or the looping variable. So this is just that ऐसा सोचो कि you are just declaring and initializing the variable I. Okay. Now, what is this second part? This second part is a condition check. If you look at this, this is a condition. This is a condition. This is a condition check. And think of it like this is like a guard. Okay. So if the condition evaluates to be true, if I see that the condition is true, then you will be able to enter inside the loop and execute this line. Okay. But if the condition evaluates to be false, then you will not be allowed to enter inside the loop. Okay. I is not the index number, Shashwat. I is basically, think of it like I is any variable, right? It's just a variable, or it is like a looping variable, right? Using this variable, you are keeping track of how many times your loop is running. Okay. And when you can enter, when you cannot enter. Using this variable, you decide whether you want to enter inside the loop or not. Think of it like this, right? Okay. Now, this is my condition check. Okay. Forget index. Forget index. Okay. So this is my condition check. Think of it like it is your guard. So you will check if I is lesser than 5, you will enter inside the loop. If I is, let's say, not less than 5, right? If the condition evaluates to be false, then you will not enter inside the loop. Okay. And what is this third part? This third part is nothing but it is increment or decrement of the looping variable. Okay. So you are making changes to your looping variable. Okay. then we need to take, if we are using for loop multiple times, then we need to take different looping variables. So can we use? Okay, Neha, I'll answer your question. I'll answer your question. You can use any other character that you want or any other variable name that you want. It's a normal variable, right? Whatever variable name you want to use, you can use. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Okay. Now this third part, what is this third part? This third part I call as the increment or decrement, or basically think of it like you are just making changes to your looping variable. You are somehow making changes to your looping variable, okay, or increment or decrement of the loop counter. That is what we are doing here. Okay. Now, interesting. Now let's try to understand how does this for loop actually work. Okay, and then we will be able to understand what is this code actually doing. What is this code actually doing, right? Okay, repeat, please. I'll repeat. Please follow. I'll repeat, right? So how does this actually run? How does this thing actually work? Okay, so if you actually write this line of code, okay, this is, if you write this outer loop for int I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and within these curly braces, okay, see, this is my loop body. Okay, so whatever you write inside your curly braces now, that is your loop body. Okay, those are the actual statements inside your for loop. Okay, so if you run this code, can anybody try to run this code and tell me what will be coming as the output? What will be coming as the output? So hello world will be printed 5 times. Okay, 5 times hello world will be printed. Now let us try to understand how. How is this, loop exactly working? Okay. So first of all, see, whenever you are trying to trace any loop, right, what happens? First of all, you come to this part. First of all, your declaration or initialization of the loop counter will happen. Okay, I'll answer all questions, don't worry. Okay, so first of all, you come to this part. So I is equal to 0. Declaration and initialization of the loop counter has happened. So what is the value of I? The value of I is initialized with 0. Okay. Now, once you have got the value of I go to the condition check. From here, you will come to the condition check. Just guys, try to follow my arrows and you will understand, right? So first of all, you do a declaration and initialization of the loop counter. Then you go and check the condition. Is I less than 5? What is the value of I? 0. 0 less than 5. Guys, tell me, is this true or false? 0 less than 5? Yes, it is true. So the condition evaluates to be true. So I will enter inside the loop and I will print all the lines of code that is written inside the loop body. So what will be printed? Hello world will be printed once. Correct? Hello world is printed once. Now what will happen? Now, once you have printed this hello world, you see that you have reached the end of the loop. So from here, I go to this part. I go to here. Okay. Boss, once you have, executed all lines of code inside your for loop, you will go to the upgradation or updation part of the loop counter. Now it is my time to change the loop counter. So what will happen? I plus plus. Now, what does I plus plus means? Think of it as, it is a very, very simple way of telling that, hey, can you increase the loop counter by 1? Okay, can you increase the loop counter by 1? See, it is equivalent. You can also write a code like this, where you are, instead of writing I plus plus, you can write I is equal to I plus 1. That is also fine, right? But in most general cases, you will see I plus plus written in case of loops. That's why I have taken also it. Okay. Plus plus I plus plus, I will tell, right? So once you have executed all these lines, I go to this increment or decrement part of my, okay, this loop counter, right? And see guys, nobody is telling you to increase I by 1, increase I by 2, subtract 2 from I, multiply I with 2 or do whatever, right? Ultimately, the goal of this segment is to change my loop counter. Okay. It is to basically change the value of my loop counter. Okay. Now what will happen? When I hit a I plus plus, can you tell me what will the value of I become? The value of I was 0. It will now change to 1. Okay. Now after the value of I has become 1, again, I will go to this condition. Okay. I see. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, 1 is less than 5. So again, I will enter inside, hello world will be printed, and then this same pattern will follow. After the end of the block, I will again go to I++. The value of I will become 2. I will go to the condition check. 2 less than 5 is true. I will print hello world. Okay. Then again I++ will happen. The value of I will become 3. 3 less than 5 is true. I will enter. I will print hello world. Okay. Then the value of I will become 4. 4 less than 5. I will enter. I will print hello world. Now see what happens. Now, after printing hello world, when you go to I++, the value of I will become 5. And when you evaluate the condition, 5 less than 5 is false. So the moment the condition evaluates to be false, I will no longer enter inside the loop. I just come outside the loop. Done. See how many times hello world was printed? 5 times. Okay. How many of you understood how no, it won't be printed 4 times. BK Panthi, see, what happens is, first of all, the value of I is 0. Try to understand. First of all, the value of I is 0. Okay, hello world is printed for I equal to 0. Then hello world will be printed for I equal to 1. Then hello world will be printed for I equal to 2. Then hello world will be printed for I equal to 3. Then hello world will be printed for I equal to 4. For 5 different values of I, hello world is printed. Okay. If I use ++I, same behavior I use. Okay. Same behavior. Okay. Now, so see guys, what is the most important thing that I want to understand here, or what is the most important thing that I want you guys to pay attention on here is, see, any general syntax, right? Any general syntax for int I equal to 0, I less than n. Okay. I++, or see, you can have here anything that you want, right? You can also have I is equals to I plus 1. You can have I is equals to I plus 5. You can have I is equals to I into 2. See, whatever you want to do, right? Ultimately, it is your logic. Okay. But in most of the scenarios, you will generally see I++ written. Okay. I++ is just another way of telling boss, add 1 to my looping variable. Okay. And then if I'm just writing SOP I, can you tell me what will be printed? Yeah, it is just updating the value, right? What will be printed? From 0 till n minus 1. Do you agree? From 0 till n minus 1 will be printed. Do you all agree? From 0 till n minus 1. All the values of those will be printed. Okay? Cool. And what is the basic flow of execution? Chirag, for us, nothing will change, right? You do a ++I here, nothing will change, right? Nothing. I will tell you that, see, in case of a loop, right? If you use a I++ or a ++I here, they are both the same, right? They work identically. Okay. So see, I will tell you, you can have this structure also. ++I is also fine, not an issue. Okay. You can also see statements like this. I will tell everything. I'll tell everything. Don't worry. You can also see I is equals to I plus 1. If somebody understands it's like this is also fine. I is equals to I plus 1 means you are basically incrementing the value of I by 1. Okay. Just 1 second, right? So see, what is this doing? See guys, try to understand. First of all, the value of I will be 0. Okay. You print hello world. You print hello world. And then when you go here, what are you doing? You are doing I is equals to I plus 1. That is what you are doing. Okay. So a value of I was 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. And you will assign the value of 1 to I. So basically, I is equals to I plus 1, I plus plus, plus plus I, or I plus equal to 1. These are all the same. These are all 4 different ways of increasing the value of your looping variable by 1. That's it. That's it. Okay. Okay. Now, and see, what is the flow of execution of the loop? What is the flow of execution? First of all, always this part occurs. Okay. First of all, you come here, then you go to the condition check, then you enter inside, execute all lines, go to increment, decrement, then come to the condition check, and then this cycle continues. Okay. So it is very important for us to understand the flow of execution of loops. How is the flow actually happening? Okay. Now once this is done, right? I'll solve some questions also, but yeah. So what is the difference between a plus plus I and a I plus plus, right? Okay. So let me start with all the basic differences, and then we'll solve some questions also. Okay. So see, one way is I is equals to I plus 1. Does anyone have any doubt in this? I is equal to I plus 1. Anyone has any doubt in this? How is this increasing the value of I by 1? No. Okay. Now, a shorthand representation of writing the same thing is I plus equal to 1. This is the same thing. Same thing. I plus equal to 1 is the same as I is equals to I plus 1. This is a shorthand representation of writing the same thing. Okay. Now comes I plus plus and plus plus I, right? I plus plus. See, I say that boss, because plus plus is coming after I, we call it as the post increment operator. I plus plus. Okay. See, plus plus is coming after I. So it is the post increment operator. And when you write plus plus I, first of all, you are doing addition, and then you are using the value of I. So plus plus I is known as pre-increment. Okay. When plus plus comes before the variable, we call it as the pre-increment operator. Okay. Now, how do these actually, work, or what is the fundamental difference between these two, right? So think of it, I'll give you an example, and then you will try to understand, right? Let's say that the value of I is 5. Let's say that the value of I is 5. And I write a statement like int x is equal to I plus plus. I write a statement like this. Int x is equal to I plus plus. Now, do you all agree this is a post increment operator that I have used? Yes. This is the post increment operator. So what does the post increment operator say? First of all, use the value of I. ध्यान से सुनो मेरे बात को. First of all, use the value of I and then increment the value of I. So what is the value of I? 5. So this value of I, 5 will be taken. This will be assigned to the variable x. Okay. And then the value of I will get incremented to 6. So if you print here SOP x, it will print 5. Okay. And if you print SOP I after this line, it will print 6. Do you understand what is happening here? See, I ka value was 5, right? So because it is a post increment operator, first of all, I use the value of I. What is the value of I? 5. So 5 will be used. It will be assigned to the variable x. So x has got a value of 5. And once I have used the value of I, then I will increment the value of I. So now the value of I will get incremented and the value of I will become 6. So when you print x, you will see that x has a value of 5. But when you print I, you will see that I has a value of 6. This is a comment. Okay. Is this making sense? If you print x again, x is 5 only, right? X is 5 only. Okay. मैं सिर्फ ऐसे बोल रहा हूँ, हिंदी में एक बार बोल रहा हूँ. मैं बोल रहा हूँ बॉस, आई का जो भी वैल्यू था ना, आई का जो भी वैल्यू था, व्हाट वाज द वैल्यू ऑफ 5, वो वैल्यू एक्स को असाइन कर दो और उसके बाद आई का वैल्यू इंक्रीज करो. आई एम टेलिंग बॉस, व्हाटएवर वाज द वैल्यू ऑफ आई, assign that value of I to the variable x. See, use that value of I and assign it to the variable x. And once you have used this value of I, then increase the value of I by 1. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? Okay. And what is the difference if I use a plus plus I? Okay. So take a parallel example. Okay. I is equal to 5. I have I is equal to 5. And I write a statement like int x is equal to plus plus I. Int x is equal to plus plus I. So now what I am telling? I am telling this is the pre-increment operator. So I am telling first increase the value and then use it. First increase, then use. Okay. So first of all, the value of I will be incremented. It will become 6. And then the value 6 will be assigned to x. So if you do an SOP x in the next line, it will print 6. And if you do SOP I, it will also print 6. This is the fundamental difference between pre-increment and post-increment. But again, as I told you guys, in case of a loop, okay, in case of a loop, whether you write a plus plus I or a I plus plus, it won't be different at all. Okay, because ultimately you are just increasing the value of I, right? You are not using this or assigning it anywhere. Okay, they are the same thing. Okay, but yeah, is the fundamental difference clear between the pre-increment and the post-increment operator? Pre-increment क्या बोलता है? First increase the value and then use it. Okay, and what does post-increment say? First use the value and then increment it. That's it. Okay, cool. So for decrement, same thing for decrement, Meet. For decrement also, you can have an I minus minus or a minus minus I. Okay, that's the same thing, right? Similar concept can be extended further. Okay, now, so if I want to recollect whatever we have studied or whatever is the important part till now, okay, so for me the structure of loop was this. We are just discussing basic loops. Okay, so for here you had your declaration slash initialization part. Here you had your condition check. I'm just giving you a brief overview of what we have discussed. Okay, and then here there was your updation of the loop counter. Okay, and then within these curly braces you do whatever lines of code you want to do. Okay, and what was the flow of execution? You start from here, you go to condition check. If it is true, you enter inside, print all lines, go back to updation, again check the condition, and this cycle continues. Okay, now before I go to solve problems, another small piece of information which I think might be helpful for all of you. So yes, sure. See, Neha, you can use an if inside a for loop. You can use an if else ladder inside a for loop. Anything, right? Yes, I is a local variable. Okay, it's only restricted to the scope of the loop. I'll talk about it in more details, right? Now, the last piece of information that I give you before going to solve some problems, right, is, can you tell us other types of... Okay. Yeah, you can do nesting. Everything will be covered. Don't worry. Everything will be covered, right? Now, what I wanted to tell you guys is, see, all these things, right, in a standard for loop, in a standard for loop, you will see everything written here. The declaration initialization will happen here. Condition check is also here. And your, updation of the loop counter is also happening here, right? But all these things are optional. All these three fields are optional. Okay. You might also see loops like this. Okay. You might also see loops like this. Boss, you don't have an initialization or declaration, right? You don't have a loop counter declared and initialized. You don't have a condition check. You don't have an updation also, right? These kind of loops are known as infinite loops. This is an infinite loop, right? Think of it. You will come here, nothing. You come here, no condition, enter, print hello world. No updation, no condition, enter, print hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world. Yes. So this will print hello world infinite number of times. Just telling you, right? So see, infinite loops you don't want to write, right? But yeah, I'm just telling you that all of these three things that I have told now, they are not compulsory to write there. Okay, you can write it at different places of your code also. Let's say I write a statement like this. Let's say I do here int I is equal to 5. Okay, and then I write a loop like this. For I don't declare or initialize any loop counter. I just compare here I less than 10. Okay, I don't even do an increment or decrement here. Okay, I write here SOP high, and I do a I plus plus here. Is it the same thing? Tell me, guys. Have I done the same thing as for int I is equals to 5, I less than 10, I plus plus? That is what we have exactly done, right? See, I is equal to 5. Now this time you don't have a declaration slash initialization here. I have done the declaration and initialization here itself, right? No. Okay. No, this is not infinite, right? Now see, so the variable I is 5. I first check the condition. 5 less than 10. Yes, I will be printed. And then I do I plus plus here itself. So I ka value will become 6. Then I go to this, there is no updation. I go to condition check. 6 is less than 10. Again, you will print high, I will become 7. Okay. So for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, high will be printed. Okay. So long story short, what I wanted you guys to understand is this, the three structures, the three parts that we have actually, studied, that is declaration / initialization, condition check, and updation of the loop counter. They can be done at their place also, or they can also be done at different locations. Okay. You just have to follow the basic flow of execution of a for loop. Okay. Cool. What if we don't put I++? Good question. So Kapil, if you don't put an I++, then what will happen? You will again run into an infinite loop. The value of I will be fixed at 5. It will never increase, and 5 is always less than 10. It is an infinite loop. I will be printed infinite number of times. Okay. Now let's go to some questions, and through this, I think it will become more clear. Okay. Chalo. Okay. So the first very basic thing, the first very basic question that we'll want to solve is, I want to print all the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay. And I'll appreciate if you guys also try to solve alongside. Okay. Can we add more variables? Definitely. Definitely. Why not? If you run an infinite loop, then what will happen? Your system will crash. Okay. Your system will crash. Okay. So yeah, we'll start with extremely basic question, guys, and I'll highly appreciate if you also code along. Okay. And we'll learn like this. Okay. So the first question that we want to solve is, I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Very basic question. Can you guys help me? I want to print all the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay. So let's start, right? Let's start. What can I do? For let's make a loop, right? Now, how do I know that I want to run a loop for this? Because I don't want to write SOP1, SOP2, SOP3, SOP4, SOP5 like this. Okay. So I'll run a for loop. And see, guys, there can be multiple ways of writing the for loop. Okay. So I'll writing like this. For int I is equal to 1. Okay. I will start at 1. What will be my condition? I less than equal to 10. I will be less than equal to 10. Okay. I++. Okay. See, guys, this is a condition, right? So at the end of the day, this should just evaluate to be a Boolean. So you can put one condition, you can group multiple conditions here. It is up to you. Okay. Now, people who are telling for int I equal to 0, I less than 10, that will print from 0 till 9, not from 1 till 10. I want to print the first 10 natural numbers. That is from 1 till 10. So I start from 1, I will go up till 10 and I do a I++. Okay. And what will I do? I will just print I. Okay. So what happens? First of all, the value of I will be 1, 1 is printed. Then I++ will happen, I will become 2, 2 will be printed. So likewise, from 1 till 10 will be printed. And then the value of I will be 11. 11 is not less than equal to 10. The condition will become false. You will come outside the for loop and my program will terminate. Okay. So let's try to run this code. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So is this code clear to everyone? I'm starting with the very basics and very simple things. Okay. So I expect everyone to be, clear. Okay. Okay. Second question. Let's move ahead. Can we print SOP outside the for loop? Okay. So tell me one very interesting part here. I didn't want to go into this at this point of time. Scope. Okay. I'll not tell you now. Okay. We'll study about it in later details. But if you try to do a SOP, println of I outside the loop. Okay. If you try to do a println of I outside the loop, it will, give you an error. It will tell, I don't know what is I. Okay. See, if you have declared, long story short, if you have declared the variable inside a loop now, it will only be accessible inside the loop. Okay. See, I have basically declared and initialized the looping variable. So this I is visible only in this for loop. It is not visible outside the for loop. So if you do a system.out.println I in line number 15, it will give you an error. Okay. If somebody is adamant, okay, let's say if somebody is adamant ki bhaiya, I want to print I outside the loop also. So you know what I will tell him? I will tell him, okay, then you do something like this. Int I is equal to 1. Okay. Don't do a declaration here. Let's just skip this part maybe. Okay. Or you can do even like this. Int I. Okay. Int I, just do like this. And just do a, initialization. I equal to 1. I less than equal to 10. I plus plus. The moment you basically do a declaration of I outside the loop, now this is visible everywhere, even outside the loop. So now you can print ln I here outside the for loop also. Okay. Can you tell me for line number 16, what will be the value of I that is printed? What is the value of I that will be printed for line number 16? Yes, 11. 11 guys, 11. 10 तो इधर ही print हो जाएगा, right? Then the value of I will increase. It will become 11. 11 less than equal to 10 will be false. So you will come outside the for loop and you will print line number 16, which is 11. So if you run this, you will see all numbers from 1 till 10 printed because of the loop, and 11 will be printed because of line number 16. Is this making sense to everyone? Why 11? How many of you didn't understand 11? Why did 11 also get printed? Okay, let me try to explain. See, what has happened? What has happened, right? What has happened? See, see, if you declare I outside, it will be visible outside the loop also. Let's think of it like this, okay? But if you declare I, or if you declare the variable in the loop, then it is visible only inside the loop. Okay? Now, semicolon after for loop. No. You don't have to put a semicolon here. Okay, that's not required. Okay. Now let's try to understand what has happened here, right? So int I, okay. Now I has been declared here. Now what has happened? See, for the loop starts running, I equal to 1. So the value of I has been made 1. Okay. Now 1 is less than equal to 10. You enter, you print 1. So do you all agree? From 1 till 10 is printed because of the loop. Yes, I ka value 10 printed. Then I go to I plus plus. Now the value of I will become 11. I check 11 less than equal to 10. That is false. So I will come outside the loop. I come to line number 16. At line number 16, what is the value of I? Isn't the value of I 11? See? When I come outside the loop, what is the value of I? 11 only, na? So when I say system.out.println I, what will be printed? 11 will be printed. That is why 11 was printed. Okay. If we declare I both outside and inside, then you can try and see. Okay, try to explore and see what happens, right? You can see. I don't want to discuss more on scopes at this point of time. Okay. Okay, next question. Now you will tell me. Okay, you will write code for me. So what if you want to do a plus plus I? Do, no problem. Okay, it's same behavior. Try to see same behavior. Okay, it will give you the same behavior. Okay, so generally I'll prefer using I plus plus. That's better. Okay, now cool. So let's go to the second question. Is this clear to everyone? Can we move ahead? Yes. Okay, cool. So now what you have to do is you have to print all even numbers from 100 till 0 in reverse, matlab from 100, like 100, 98, 96, 94, like this. Okay. So you have to print all the even numbers from 100 till 0. Okay. Okay, so when do we have to use this or comma? Comma as in? Okay, so there can be two ways of doing this, right? So yeah, you are using quotes to print if you are printing strings, right? But if you are printing variables, then you don't want to put quotes, if that is what your question was. Okay. So let's see. Only plus I doesn't make any sense, right? Okay. So there can be a couple of solutions here. Let's do that, right? I'll just comment this code that we have done. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's have a look, right? So I start from 100 and I'll have to go till 0 and I have to print all even numbers. So there can be two ways. Okay. One way can be for int I is equal to 100. I start from 100. Okay. Now what will be my condition? I have to come all the way till 0. So I greater than equal to 0. So I should be greater than equal to 0. And then what I will do? I minus equal to 2. This can be one way. Okay. This can be one way. And I will just do a println I. So what will happen? See guys, I starts from 100. 100 is greater than equal to 0. So I enter print 100. Then what will be the new value of I? I minus equal to 2. So the value of I will become 98. 98 is greater than equal to 0. I will enter inside print 98. Then the value of I will go to 96. Then 94, 92. ऐसे करते करते you will reach the value of I till 0. 0 greater than equal to 0. 0 will be printed. And then the value of I will become minus 2. Okay, minus 2 is not greater than equal to 0. So you will basically now come outside the for loop and your code is completed. Is this making sense to everyone? Is this making sense? What I'm trying to do? Yes? Run once. Let's run it. Okay, see. 198, 96, see, every number is other. Okay. Now, another way of doing it, what could be not understand? Please repeat step by step. See, let's take simple from 10 till 0. Okay. Then it might make more sense to understand. Okay. Now let's try to trace what has actually happened here. So I have started for int I is equal to 10. So what is the value of I? I is initially 10. What's happening here? I is equal to 10. Okay. Now what happens? I is equal to 10 ho gaya. Now I go and check. I greater than equal to 0. Is 10 greater than equal to 0? Yes, it is. So I enter and I print 10. Okay. I is printed, which is 10. Then I will go from here to here, which is I minus equal to 2. So I will decrease the value of I by 2. So from 10, the value of I will become 8. Okay. I again go and check the condition. 8 greater than equal to 0? Yes. I enter inside, print the value of I, which is 8. Okay. Then I go I minus equal to 2. The value of I becomes 6. I go to check the condition. 6 greater than equal to 0. Yes. I enter inside, print the value of I, which is 6. Then again, updation will happen. I will decrease the value of I by 2. I go to check the condition. 4 is greater than equal to 0. I enter inside the loop. I print the value of I, which is 4. Okay. Now, again, what is happening? Again, you will go to the updation part. The value of I gets reduced by 2. Okay. Then again, you go and check the condition. 2 greater than equal to 0. Yes. Again, you will enter inside the loop. Print the value of I, which is 2. Okay. After printing, you go to the updating part. I minus equal to 2. So now the value of I will become 0. Again, you go and check the condition. 0 greater than equal to 0. Yes, I will enter inside. Print the value of I, which is 0. Again, I will go to the updation part. 0 minus equal to 2. So what will happen? The value of I will now become minus 2. Okay, minus 2. Now what will happen? Again, you go to check the condition. Minus 2 greater than equal to 0. Is minus 2 greater than equal to 0? No, minus 2 is lesser than 0. So the condition is evaluated to be false. So I come outside the loop and my task is done. Is this making sense, guys? Yeah, I'll use modulo also. You can use I equal to I minus 2 also. That is also fine. Okay. Okay. Now let's do it. The same question. Let's do it in another way. Let's do it in another way. Okay. For int I is equal to 10, I greater than equal to 0, I minus minus. Let's say you want to do like this. Okay. So now what you will have to do? See, now when you are inside the for loop, I only want to print the even numbers, right? So when the value of I is 10, I want to print. But when the value of I is 9, I don't want to print. So inside the loop, I will have a condition. Ki boss, if I is even, and how do I check if I is even? If I mod 2 equal to 0, that means I is even. So I will print it. Okay. That's it. As simple as that. Now see what happens if I try to trace this logic here. Okay. Now, see, I start from I equal to 10, 10 greater than equal to 0, enter. Okay. The value of I is 10. Is 10 an even number? Yes. So I will print 10. Then I go, to here, I minus minus. The value of I will become 9. 9 ke liye I will again enter the loop because 9 is greater than equal to 0, right? I check this condition. Is 9 modulo 2 equal to 0? No, it is not. So I won't be printing anything. And I simply go to the I minus minus part again. Okay. Then the value of I will become 8. 8 is greater than equal to 0. I enter inside the loop. I check the condition. Is 8 modulo 2 equal to 0? Yes, it is. So I enter the if block and I print it. So 8 will be printed. Then again, the value of I will be 7. 7 will not be printed. Then the value of I will become 6. 6 will be printed. And likewise, this will go on. Is this making sense? Okay. Okay. So somebody has asked a question. Can I use percentage in the loop itself? My answer is yes, you can use. Okay. You can use. What did I tell you? Boss, ultimately, this is a condition. You can group multiple conditions. So you can also write this. I greater than equal to 0 hona chahiye. And I percentage 2 should be equal to 0. If both these conditions are satisfied, then only enter. But then you will have a problem. Try to think. Technically, you can put conditions, but it will be problematic. Right? सोच के देखना. Okay. So is everyone clear? Is everyone clear with this? What we have discussed till now? Okay. Now let's take a question from the portal. So let's take a simple question. Let's take sum of natural numbers. Okay. Okay. So what is this question? Let's first of all try to, read the question. Okay. For an integer n, yeah, we'll solve questions. Don't worry. Okay. If the condition becomes false, it will not enter. Correct. Diptendu, it's better. Like, don't cram too much conditions, right? Okay. So let's have a look at this. Sum of natural numbers. For an integer n, your task is to calculate the sum of the first n natural numbers. Okay. So basically, you have to take a number n input from the user and you have to print the sum of the first n natural numbers. Okay. Can you tell me the formula for the first n natural numbers? N into n plus 1 by 2, right? So let's try to code. Let's try to code it up, right? So first of all, let's make a scanner. And see, it's written here, it's a function problem, but actually you have to write the entire scanner and everything yourselves only. We'll see later. Okay. So system.in, I have made a scanner. Okay. Let's take the input. Int n is equal to sc dot next int. Taken the input, right? Now what do I want to do? I want to print the sum of the first n natural numbers. Okay. Why have we used a scanner? Because I want to take input from the user. Okay. Now, see guys, n the value, if you look at the constraints, right, you will see that n's value is very large, right? So what I'll say is, see, the value of n is good enough to fit inside integer, right? But when you take the sum of the n natural numbers, right, it can prove to be like very big, right? But I won't care about it at this point of time. Okay, you can make it as a long also, that's fine. That's better, I would say, right? So what do I do? One way is to apply the formula n into n plus 1 by 2. But that is not something that we want to do. I want to find the sum of the first n natural numbers. What are the first n natural numbers? From 1 till n. So can't I say, boss, I just have to iterate over the numbers. First of all, I will go to 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6 till n. And when I am at every number, I will just add these numbers to my sum. That's it. So what I will do, let's say I make a variable long sum is equal to 0. I have initialized this variable with 0. Okay. Then what do? I run a loop for int I is equal to 1. Okay, I'll start with the first natural number is 1. And till where should I go? The first n natural numbers. So I should be less than equal to n. Okay, I plus plus. So guys, tell me, with the conditions that I have written, first of all, I will take a value of 1, then it will take a value 2, then it will take a value 3, then it will take a value 4, till I will take a value n. So can I tell you, in one iteration of the loop, okay, when the loop is running, I will basically denote a particular natural number. Why use long? Okay, why use long? Good question. So see, I have used a long here instead of an int because, the numbers are very large. See, there can be these many natural numbers, right? So when you add all these big natural numbers together, right, then the sum might overflow. The sum might not fit inside a normal integer. Okay, that's why. Okay, now, so see, now what should I do? What statement should I write here? So can I say, guys, I is a natural number. I is a natural number that I am standing on, right? Let's say the value of I is 5. That is, I am standing on the fifth natural number. So what do I want to do? I want to add this number to my sum. So what should I do? I should do simply but sum is equal to sum plus I. That's it. Or in shorthand notation, we write simply as sum plus equal to I. That's it. Okay. And then outside the for loop, what will we do? Sum is now containing the sum of all the first n natural numbers. So I just want to print this sum. So system dot out dot println sum. Okay. Is it not a good practice of defining a variable inside a loop? So what variable do you want to define here? Why outside the loop? Okay, good question. Tell me, if I had defined sum inside the loop, let's say I would have defined sum here, long sum is equal to 0. Then you know what will happen? When I is equal to 1, you run the loop, sum is equal to 0, and you do a sum plus equal to I. Then when you go to the next iteration of the for loop for I is equals to 2, again sum will be set to 0, which you don't want. Okay. So that is why we are not, defining or initializing sum inside the loop. Initialize it outside the loop once, and then this loop will keep on updating the value of sum. Okay. Now first let's run and see how it works, and then we can try and understand where's our console. If you don't initialize the sum, then it's a problem, right? Okay, let's try to submit it and see. Okay, so all the test cases passed here. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, now let me just discuss this question once in detail so that everyone is clear with this question. Okay, so see, what have I actually done? Let me try to trace the logic of this question that I have taken, right? And for my simplicity, I will take the value of n as 5. That is, I want to find the sum of the first 5 natural numbers. Okay, so what have I done? First of all, I have initialized sum is equal to 0. Okay, and can you even tell me why have I initialized my sum variable with 0 and not with 1, 2, 3, anything? Why 26.3? I don't know. So is there any test case that failed? Let's check it out. No, I don't know why it's not giving us full marks. I think some glitch. Okay. Okay. Now, why have I initialized sum to 0, not with 20, 30, -1, -2, or anything else? Why? Because 0 is the additive identity. See, if I ask you, ki boss, you will be adding and storing the result of 5 numbers. You will add 5 numbers, right? So you will initialize your sum with 0. Now, because you add anything to 0, you will get the answer itself, right? So you won't be manipulating the answer, right? That's why I've initialized the sum to 0. So whenever you are finding the sum of numbers, generally you initialize your sum with 0. And can you give me a good idea? Let's say I wanted to find the product of three numbers. Let's say I say, hey others, can you find the product of five numbers for me? Then what will you initialize your product with? 1. Okay, I think good. You understand that point, right? Okay, cool. So I have initialized my sum to 0. Okay, now what do? I iterate over my numbers. I start I from 1 and I will go up till n. So first of all, the value of I will be 1. The value of I is 1. Okay. Now I enter inside the loop and I do sum is equals to sum plus I. So what will happen? When I do sum is equal to sum plus I, what is sum plus I? 0 plus 1 is 1. So the value of sum will get updated to 1. Okay. I don't know why I'm not able to write properly, but yeah. So sum will become 1. Okay. Then I will go to the next iteration of the loop. The value of I will become 2. Okay. You again enter. What's happening? Just 1 second. You again enter inside the loop. You again enter inside the loop. And then what will you do? Sum is equal to sum plus I. Now see guys, the value of sum is already 1. And what are you doing? Sum is equal to sum plus I. So sum is 1. 1 plus I will be 1 plus 2 is 3. The value of 3 will be assigned to sum. Okay. So think of it. Sum is equal to sum plus I means sum was 1. You are adding 2 to the value of sum and then assigning this entire value back to sum. Okay. So I am, getting the value 3 of sum. Then what will happen? Let's say n is equal to, 3 only. Okay. Then the loop will run for the third time. Okay. The value of I will become 3. Okay. So what will happen? Sum was already 3. Okay. And I am doing sum is equal to sum plus I. Okay. Sum is equal to sum plus I. So what is happening? The value of sum was 3. The value of I is also 3. So 3 plus 3 will be 6. 6 will be taken and then it will be assigned back to sum. So the value of sum will become 6. Okay. And then outside the for loop, I am printing the value of sum. Why outside the for loop? Because I want to print the sum of the first n natural numbers. And when is that sum getting formed correctly? After I have iterated through those n natural numbers. If I print sum here inside the for loop, then I will print 1, then 3. Are you getting the point? I wanted to print the sum of the first 5 natural numbers, right? So if you print the sum inside, then it will print 1, then it will print 3, then it will print, 6 like this. How many of you are clear with what is happening? Not clear. Okay, let's try to understand. Let's try to break it up. Okay, guys. You can stop writing in the chats. I'll repeat once again. Okay. So let's say, what is this problem doing? This problem is basically finding the sum of the first 10 natural numbers. ठीक है? मैं हिंदी में भी बताऊंगा. 2 मिनट रुको. First, let me complete it in English fully. Then I think I'll switch to Hindi once. Okay. Cool. Let's have a look. Right. Let's have a look. Okay. Now let's try to understand what actually is happening. What do I want to do? I want to find the sum of the first n natural numbers. Okay. I want to find the sum of the first n natural numbers. So for our simple understanding, I will take the value of n as 4. That is, I want to find the sum of the first 4 natural numbers. That is, I want to find 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Okay. What is happening? Yes, this is what I want to find. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. What is the total summation? 7 plus 2, 9 plus 1, 10. So I want the output as 10. Do you understand the input output example? Don't know what's happening with this. Yaar. Let's go to the PPT. It's bad here. I'll try to trace the code. Okay. Okay, this was the code. Yes. Now let's try to do a dry run of what exactly is happening, right? So let's say n is equal to 4. I have given n is equal to 4. Okay. Now, basically, I want to find the sum of the first 4 natural numbers. Okay. What are the first 4 natural numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. And what is their sum? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, which is nothing but 10. Okay. This is what I want to find. So if I give the input as 4, the output should be 10. Now let us try to understand what we have done. So first of all, I initialize my sum with 0. I initialized my sum with 0. So the sum has been initialized with 0. Okay. Now what do? I know that I have to iterate through the first 4 natural numbers. So I start a loop for I equal to 1 and go till n, which is 4. Okay. See, why do you want to start I from 0? Okay. You want to go to number 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. You want to sum up these 4 numbers, right? Even if you take I as 0, it won't change. The answer won't change, but technically not required. So I will start from 1. Okay. So when the value of I is 1, 1 is definitely less than equal to 4. Okay. So what am I doing? I am doing sum is equal to sum plus I. See guys, try to understand. The value of I is 1 currently, right? And I do sum is equal to sum plus I. So what part is evaluated? First of all, the right hand side of the expression is evaluated. So let us evaluate this part. What is the value of sum? 0. What is the value of I? 1. What is 0 plus 1? 1. So the right hand part will evaluate to be 1. And then this 1 will be assigned to sum. So do you agree that after the loop is run once, sum has become 1? Do you agree? See, sum is equal to sum plus I. Sum was 0 initially, so 0 plus 1 is 1, and that is the new value of sum. That's it, right? Now what will happen? Next, you go to the next iteration of the loop, I plus plus. So now the value of I will become 2. That is, now I am standing at the second natural number. So I need to add 2 to my sum. So what do? I do sum is equal to sum plus I. So the value of sum is 1. Okay, sum is already 1. 1 plus I. What is I? I is 2. So 1 plus 2 will be 3. And now sum will contain the value of 3. Okay. So 1 plus 2 will be 3. And now sum will be storing a value of 3. Are you guys following till here? So I have added 2 also. And what is 1 plus 2? It is 3. That is what the sum is storing. Now what will happen? Again, you go to the next iteration, I plus plus. Now the value of I will become 3. So I am standing on the third natural number, right? My sum is already 3. So what do? Sum is equal to sum plus I. So my sum was 3. I add I, which is 3 to it. And my new sum will now become 3 plus 3, which is 6. So after adding the first 3 natural numbers, my sum will be 6. Okay. Then again, I go to I plus plus. The value of I will become 4. Now I am standing on the fourth natural number. Okay. Now 4 is less than equal to 4. No problem. No problem. Okay. I enter inside and I say sum is equal to sum plus I. So summation was 6. To it, I add the value of I, which is 4. And this new summation will be 10, which will be stored inside the variable sum. So after I've added 4, sum now contains a value of 10. Okay. So now I have added the first 4 natural numbers and I have stored the summation in the variable sum. Again, I plus plus will happen. The value of I will become 5. This time 5 is not less than equal to 4. So I will just break outside the for loop, and outside this, I will just print the value of sum, which is 10, which is indeed the sum of the first 4 natural numbers. Now tell me guys, how many of you are clear with what this code is doing? Clear? Anybody still having any doubts, any confusions? No? Okay, great. Can we add into long? I am adding and I don't see any errors, right? So not a problem, right? So typecasting will happen. No? And then again, it gets casted. So not an issue. Okay. If we just declare the variable sum, then definitely it will be an error, right? If you don't initialize, then it is a problem. Okay. Okay. Cool. So, okay, now you will see that there are good number of questions added to your portal, right? Now you will have good questions to solve actually what happened. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So I think I'll take more questions from the portal also. Okay. But before that, I think let's talk about while loops and do while also. so that then we can focus solely on solving questions, right? That will be good. Yeah. For while loop, I think I can take up a couple of questions on numbers, like reversing the digits I can take. That's a good question. Peak element also we can do. Okay, cool. So let's go to the PPT once again. Let's go to the PPT once again. Okay. So is the basic for loop clear? Is the basic for loop clear? Yeah, I'll do Armstrong also. Don't worry. We'll discuss, right? But yeah, is the basic working of the for loop clear to everyone? Is the basic working? Okay. Yeah, it becomes clear with problem solving examples. So that's why we did it. Okay. So now once we are done with the basic for loop, right? I just wanted to make sure that the theoretical part of loops is also being done today. So let's look at while loop. Okay, we'll read the peak element also. Let's give some time, right? I'll try to cover questions as much as we can today. Okay. Now, okay, I'll just drink some water. Okay. Now let's have a look at the second type of loop, which is the while loop. Okay. Big light karunga. Chalo, 100% will do big light today. There has been a lot of requests for big light coming in. I don't know, but yeah, let's do it. Okay. So let's have a look at the while loop. Let's focus on the class for the time being and we'll see. Okay. Excuse me. So while loop, right? So what is the basic structure or syntax of a while loop? Pretty simple. While. I think my pen has, the need has gone. Okay. So while within parentheses, you write a particular condition. Okay. And then put curly braces, write whatever you want to write inside the loop. Okay. As simple as this, as simple as this, as simple as this. So what it is telling, while the condition is true, these lines of code will get executed. So how does a basic while loop work? First of all, you check the condition. If the condition is true, you enter inside, execute all these lines of code. Okay. After all these lines are executed, you again go back, check the condition. Okay. ऐसे मत करो, draw it like this, more clarity in understanding. You again go back and check the condition. If the condition evaluates to true, you enter inside, execute all the lines of code. Again, you go back, check the condition. If it is true, again you enter, print all the lines of code, right? Again, you go back, check the condition. The moment it becomes false, you will no longer enter the while loop. Okay, as simple as this. That's simple. Okay. Now you will ask me, hey Adarsh, this condition has to become false at some point of time or the other. Do you agree? This condition has to go and become false at some point of time or the other. Otherwise, it will become an infinite while loop. So how do I ensure that this condition becomes false at some point of time or other? Again, there will be some loop counter. There can be some increment or decrement, or there can be some logic, right? I don't impose all these things on you. I tell you, whatever logic you are writing, the basic flow of execution of the while loop, okay? The basic flow of execution for while loop should be, boss, first you check your condition, condition evaluates to true, you enter inside, execute all the lines of code, go back and check the condition, evaluates to true, enter inside, execute all lines of code, go back, check the condition. The moment condition evaluates to be false, then you won't execute the while loop. You will come outside the while loop. This is the basic idea of a while loop. Okay. Now let's try to write a very basic logic using a while loop. Okay. So let's do like this. Print all numbers from 1 to 10 using a while loop. Okay. So let's do that very same question. Print numbers from 1 to 10 using a while loop this time. Anybody? Can anybody help me? Print numbers from 1 to 10 using a while loop. Yep. How do I write? Okay. Cool. So I can do something like this, right? I can do something like this. Let's say I initialize int I is equal to, let's say 1. Okay. And then I write while, okay, I is less than equal to 10. This is my condition. So while this condition is true, I enter inside. Okay. I is less than equal to 10. So I'll do an SOP of I. I'll do an SOP of I. Okay. And after I has been printed, I will do a I plus plus. Okay. Now see guys, if I don't do I plus plus here, it will become an infinite while loop. Okay. That is why, see, all the three things are there. There is some loop counter, there is some condition, there is some increment or decrement, right? It's not necessary that you need to have these three, but we are having these three in this case, right? But yeah, is the basic while loop making sense to everyone? What's happening? See, I initialize I to 1, then I check, is 1 less than equal to 10? Yes, enter print 1, do I plus plus, I ka value becomes 2. Then again you go back, check this condition, 2 less than equal to 10? Yes, enter inside, print the value, do a I plus plus, right? So Sheikh, you can try to disable previews from your end, right? So that should help you. Okay. Now, again, what will happen? 3 less than equal to 10, you enter inside print 3. Then I plus plus happen, I ka value becomes 4. Again, you get back to check the condition. 4 less than equal to 10, yes, you enter inside, print the value of I, which is 4. So likewise, you will print all the values till 10. Okay. So the basic idea of a while loop is while the condition is true, you will enter inside the loop, print all the lines or execute all the lines, go back to check the condition, and then again do it. Okay. So the moment the condition evaluates to be false, you will no longer enter inside the while loop. So now a very good question that we are getting is, what is the fundamental difference between a for and a while loop? Okay. Both are doing the same thing, right? I could have done the same thing using a for loop. I did the same thing using a while loop. So what is the fundamental difference? When do I use a for loop? When do I use a while loop? When do I use a do while loop? Right. I'll answer all your questions in today's class itself in due course of time. Right. Now, but yeah, this is a very basic while loop, right? Now, we will actually look at some more examples of while loop through questions. Okay. So let's start with a very, very basic question of while loop, right? Let's start with very basic question, and it's interesting also, right? So, kya kar rahe ho bhai? Ye sab mat karo. Hey, don't spam, please. Yeah, you can use logical. You can use, see, you can use logical operators in the while condition also. Yes, you can use something like this. While I is lesser than equal to 10 and just my, let's say, and I is, greater than equal to 5, something like this. You can put as many conditions as you want. You can club multiple conditions using logical operators or whatever, right? It's up to you. Okay. Now let's try to solve a basic question. So what I'm telling you, you will give a number as input. You will get an integer n as input, right? You will get an integer n as input. Let's say the input is 58. What I want you guys to do is print the sum of digits of the number. Okay, so let's say if the input number is 587. Let's say if the input number is 587. Then I want to print 5 plus 8 plus 7, which is equal to 20. I want to print the sum of digits of the number. Is this making sense? The question, you have been given a number n, you have been given an integer number n, you want to find the sum of digits of the number. Okay, this is the question that we have to solve. Okay. Can anybody give me an idea of what we can do? What can we do? Modulo. Okay. So the first fundamental thing, right? The first fundamental thing that you have to understand when you look at questions of this sort, right? Whenever you are dealing with numbers now, you should be very, very clear on how do you get the digit from the end. Okay. So I will tell you, if you do an n percentage 10, n modulo 10, you get whatever digit is there at the units place, whatever digit is there at the end. Okay. See, if you do a 587 modulo 10 now, you will get 7 as the remainder. Okay. So n modulo 10 always gives you the last digit of the number. You will know what is the last digit of the number. Okay. Do you agree? And when you do n by 10, what does it do? N by 10 basically removes the last digit from the number. So you will be left with 58. And what is the logic? See, this is not magic, right? If you take the number 587 and you divide it by 10, your quotient is nothing but 58 and your remainder is nothing but 7. See, the quotient, this is the quotient, right? This is the quotient, one digit gone. And this is the remainder, this last digit, right? That is what is happening. So now what I want to understand is I want to obtain the sum of digits of the number. Okay. So let's start with an example on how do I approach this problem. So the first thing that you should be keeping in your mind is whenever I talk of the sum, right, you will be needing a sum variable which you will be initializing with 0. Okay. Yeah, Mahesh, if you do an n by 100, you can get the second last. You can remove these two places, correct? You can, right? But we won't be needing that. You will see how. Okay. So I know that I will be needing a sum variable, which I will initialize with 0 because I want to find the sum of digits of the number, right? Now, I have the number. Let's say this is the number n available with me. N is 587. So I have a number to process. Okay. I have a number to process. And what is the number? The number is 587. So I have a number to process. So what do I do? First of all, I will go and inspect what is the last digit or what is the digit at the units place. Okay. So I will say, boss, my digit is n percentage 10. So when I do a 587 percentage 10, what will I get? I will get the digit as 7. And the moment I know that the last digit is 7, I will add this digit to the sum. Do you all agree? Sum plus is equal to digit. I can do this. Do you all agree? Do you all agree? Acha guys, and one very important information. When you do something like digit is equals to n modulo 10, right? I am not changing n. I am not changing n. Don't think like n has become 58 or n has become 7, right? I did, n modulo 10. See, try to understand. Okay, I'll repeat once again. So the number that is there with me is 587. And I want to find the sum of digit, the sum of all the digits of this number. That is, I want to get 5 plus 8 plus 7. I want to get this summation. So initially my sum is 0. Okay. I see that I have a number. I have a number available with me. So first of all, I inspect what is the digit at the extreme end. So I first of all find digit is equal to n percentage 10. And when I do n percentage 10, I will get 7. And so the digit will get a value of 7. And the moment I get that, boss, 7 is the digit, what will I do? I add this to my summation. So now my sum becomes 7. Okay. So you did first of all n percentage 10. This gave you the last digit. Then you did basically a sum plus equal to digit. So you added the digit to the sum. Now I have added 7. I have added 7 to my sum. Now what do I want to add? Now I want to add 8. Do you all agree? I have already processed 7. Now I want to process 8. Do you agree? I'm just giving you a basic idea of what we want to do. Then I'll tell you, right? I want to process 8, right? So what do I do is, because I have already processed the digit 7, I am done with this digit now. So let us just remove this digit from the number. And how do I remove? I will do n is equals to n by 10. My screen not showing anything. Guys, my screen is visible or not? It should be visible. It's visible, right? Yeah, it's visible. Okay. Can you, maybe you can try to leave and join once again. It's got stuck from your end. Okay. So see, my n was 587. Okay. And because I have already processed this digit 7, now I want, boss, I no longer need this 7 in my number. So I will do a n is equals to n by 10. So what is n by 10? N by 10 is 58. So when I do n is equals to n by 10, what will be the new value of n? Think of it, this digit 7 goes away and the new value of the number will become 58. N will now become 58. Do you agree? Do you agree n becomes 58? See, n modulo 10 will give you the last digit, right? If you do an n modulo 10, let's say a 587 modulo 10, this will give you 7. But if you do a 587 by 10, it will give you 58. This is the fundamental difference. This is the remainder. Okay. And this will give you the quotient. Okay. So what have I done? See, try to understand. I had the number 587 initially. Okay. I have this big number to process. What do? I had a sum equal to 0. I had a sum equal to 0. So first of all, I see what is the digit at the last. Okay, so I do a number percentage 10, and I see that the digit is 7. I see that the digit is 7. So I add 7 to my sum. So my sum now becomes 7. Now after this, what I will do? I have already processed this digit 7. So what should I do? I want to remove this 7 from the number. So I do n is equals to n by 10. So when I divide n, what is n? N is 587. When I divide it by 10, I will get 58. And I will assign this new value of 58 to n. So after I do n is equals to n by 10, think of it like the number n now becomes 58. Okay. So now you have 58. This is a number to process. What do I do? Again, I inspect what is the digit at the experiment. So again, I do n percentage 10. So 58 percentage 10, what it will give me? It will give me 8. Okay. So the digit is 8. I will add 8 to my sum. So I will do sum is equals to sum plus digit. So what will happen? Sum will become 7 plus 8, that is 15. Okay. Now, after I have processed 8, I will again do n is equals to n by 10. So 8 will also go away and my number will get reduced to only 5. Okay. Now, again, I see I have a number. So what will I do? I know that I have a digit to process. So let's find this digit. When I do n percentage 10, what will happen? The digit is 5. Okay. So I will add 5 to my summation. So my sum will become 20. And once I have processed this digit 5, I know that I can remove it from my number. So I will do n is equals to n by 10. So the moment I do n is equals to n by 10 and n is 5, right? So what is 5 by 10? It will become 0. So once you do n is equals to n by 10, after this, the number will go down to 0. And the moment the number has gone down to 0, I know that I have processed all the digits. Okay. So my job is done. I can simply stop now. So what was my entire journey like? My entire journey was like 587 was there. I processed the digit 7, added 7 to my sum. Then the number got reduced to 58. Then I processed the digit 8, added the digit to my sum. Then the number got reduced to 5. Okay. Then I processed the digit 5, added 5 to my sum, and then the number got reduced to 0 and my task was done. Okay. So here my sum was 0. 0 plus 7 happened here. Then here I added 8. Then here I added 5. So my entire summation will be 18, which I wanted. Okay, sorry. Yeah, 20. Okay. Is this making sense? The logic? Yes. What about 5? We took 5, right? We took 5. We took 5, right? See, there was this 587, right? So I did n percentage 10, gave me 7. I added 7 to my sum. So sum became 7. And then I reduced my number. N is equals to n by 10. So the number became 58. Then again, I saw what is the last digit. N percentage 10 will give me 8. I add 8 to my summation. And then I reduce my number. N is equals to n by 10. It will go to 5. Okay. Again, this is a greater than 0 number. So what I will do? Again, I see what is the last digit. So when you do 5 modulo 10, when you divide 5 with 10, what is the remainder? The remainder is 5 itself. Okay. So when I do n mod 10, I will get 5. Okay. I will add this 5 to my summation. And then I will say, boss, I have done processing this digit. So let us now remove this 5. So I will do n is equals to n by 10. So what will happen? The number will go down to 0. And when the number has gone down to 0, you just stop. Okay. Now let's code this up. Let's code this up in the compiler. Okay. And then I think it should be better. How can I find second number 5? Only of 4, 5, 2, 3, 6, 9, 8. If you know it, then you know. See, you can actually try to do this repeatedly till you get a 5, right? Okay. Let's go back to our compiler. Okay. I think, guys, let's take one class for more problem solving, right? So where we can focus more on solving problems and, all these things that will help a lot. Okay. So let's think, right? So basically what I have is a number n, okay? And for now, I am just hard coding it. Int n is equal to, let's say, 5, 7, 3, 4, 8. 5734. Okay. I have taken this number n. Now what I want to do. See guys, till when I was doing my logic, till when I was running my logic, if you had a look, if you had a look, what was happening? Till my number gone down to 0, I was processing the digits, right? जब तक मेरे पास एक non-zero number है, I have a digit to process. Do you all agree? Till the point I have a non-zero number, I definitely have digits to process. Do you all agree? So I will say, while n is greater than 0, while n is greater than 0, that means when I am inside this while loop, n is a non-zero number, right? It is greater than 0. That means I have a digit to process. So let us first of all see what is the digit. So I just making it more simple for you. Int digit is equals to n mod 10. So I extract what is the digit at the extreme end. Okay. And once I get, you can also do like this, right? While n greater than 0, while n not equal to 0. You can do via both. That is also fine. Okay. So first of all, I extract the digit, right? N percentage 10. Okay. Acha guys, let's say that n is 5734, right? And I just want to print n here. What will be the output? Can you tell me? I have extracted the digit, and if I print n here just after this, can you tell me what will be the output of n? 5734. Thank you. That is what I wanted. 5734, right? There is no changes in n happening. Okay. So I have extracted the digit. I have found what is the digit at the extreme end. Okay. Now what I want to do, I know I have got this digit, right? I want to add it to my sum. So first of all, also make a variable sum is equal to 0. Okay. Now what I will do, I have a digit. So do sum is equal to sum plus digit. Okay. I'll add digit to my sum. Now what I will do, I am done processing the last digit of the number. So now I can simply chop off that last digit from the number. Okay. So what I will do, I will say n is equal to n by 10. Okay. That's it. N is equal to n by 10. Or the shorthand representation can be n by is equal to 10, like this. Okay. So when you do n is equals to n by 10, you have removed the last digit from the number. Okay. So now your number has become 573. Again, you see it is greater than 0. You get the last digit, add it to the summation, again chop off that digit. Okay. Then again, this thing keeps on going till n is greater than 0. The moment the number n becomes 0, you will stop. Okay. And outside this while loop, you can print sum. Okay. Why are we not initializing digit? Who said we are not initializing digit? Abhinav, if you'll have a look very carefully at line number 16, I have told that digit is equal to n mod 10. Okay. Cool. So let's try to run this and see. So what should be the output? 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 7, 14, 14 plus 5, 19. Right. So let's try to run it and see. Okay. So 19 is coming fine. Right. Okay. So how many of you are clear with what is happening? Why do we print outside of the loop? See, again, it's because you want to print the sum of digits of the number, right? So once you have processed all the digits, then only you want to print the sum, right? If you print the sum inside the loop, then you are printing, the sum of the digits, like one digit add karoge, you will print the sum. Another digit you add, you print the sum. Another digit you add, you print the sum. It will become like that. Okay. So let's try to do a dry run of this program once. Okay. And see if people are clear with this. And then maybe we can move ahead. See. So my number n is 5, 7, 3, 4. Okay. This is my number n. Okay. And what is my sum? What if we divide n by 10 outside the while loop? No, you have to keep dividing it by 10, right? You have to keep dividing it. Otherwise, if you just divide it outside once, then it's a problem, right? See, I am tracing the code, guys. See, doing a dry run is a very, very important thing, right? So anytime you don't understand the code, try to do a dry run of that code to see what is happening. Okay. Stepwise answer. No, see, there's no way to check stepwise answers. What you can do is you can use print statements, right? Just use this system.out.println to debug further if you want. Okay. Now, let's try to understand. Acha, if you want to debug alongside, let's do it like this. If that is what you want, let's write some system.out some line here also. Okay. Let's see. Chalo, let's start. So let's try to run first and see what happens, right? So 5, 7, 3, 4 and sum is initialized with 0. Okay. So first of all, I check while n greater than 0. Do you think 5, 7, 3, 4 is greater than 0? Do you think 5, 7, 3, 4 is greater than 0? Yes, definitely, right? So what will you do? I first of all enter the while loop. I will see int digit. What is the value of digit? Digit is equals to n mod 10, which will be nothing but 4. Okay. So digit gets a value of 4. And then you do sum is equals to sum plus digit. So I to 0, I have added 4. So my sum will now become 4. That is, I have added this digit to my sum. Okay. Now, after I've added this to my sum, I know that I am done with this digit. So I will divide n by 10. So I will do n is equals to n by 10. So when I divide n by 10, the quotient will be 573 and this 573 will be the new value of n. Okay. So now n has become 573. Do you all agree till here? So sum will be printed as 4 and the value of n has become 573. Yes. Now what will happen? Is 573 greater than 0? Definitely it is greater than 0. Okay. So what will happen? 573 greater than 0, you enter. Again, you will calculate digit. What is digit? N is 573 now, right? So what is 573 mod 10? 3. So digit will be 3. Then what you will do? I will add this digit to my sum. So sum is equal to sum plus digit. So sum was 4. 4 plus 3 will be 7. So sum will be equal to 4 plus 3, which is 7. Okay. Now you have summed up this digit as well. Okay. So what do? I again do a sum n is equals to n by 10. So when I do 573 by 10, I will get 57 as my quotient and the new value of n will be 57. Okay. And I do a system.out.println sum. So sum is 7, which is also printed. Okay. Now, in the next iteration of the while loop, the value of n is 57. 57 is greater than 0. So again, you enter. You extract a digit. What is 57 mod 10? 7. So digit will be 7. You add this digit to the summation. Okay. So sum will be equal to 7 plus 7, which will become 14. Okay. And then what I will do n is equals to n by 10. So what will happen? What will happen? So when you do n is equals to n by 10, 57 by 10 will be 5. So this 7 will be removed and n ka value will become 5. Okay. Now, and the sum of 14 will be printed. Okay. Now, the value of n is 5. 5 is greater than 0. I extract a digit, right? What is 5 mod 10? 5 mod 10 is 5 itself. So the value of digit will be 5. You add this digit 5 to your sum and then you do n is equals to n by 10. So when I do a 5 by 10, we will get the quotient as 0. So n reduces to 0. And then you print the sum as, what is this? 7, 14, 19, right? 19. Okay. Printed. Now when you go back, n is already 0. So 0 greater than 0 is false. So you will not enter inside the while loop. You come outside the while loop and you print the sum. What is the value of sum? 19. So 19 will be printed again. This is my final answer. Okay. And see, it is the, and if you look very, very carefully, right, your all, see, the first value of sum is 4, which is the sum of this digit. The second value of summation was 7, which is 4 plus 3. The third value of sum was 14, which is 4 plus 3 plus 7. The fourth value of sum which was printed was 20, which, 19, which is the sum of all these digits, which is exactly what I wanted. Okay. Cool, guys. Yeah, the number of iterations is not known, right? Okay. Now, is this making sense? How many of you are clear with this? It's a very, like, not that difficult, but not that straightforward as well. Cool. So now let's again move back to the PPT. Okay, now how will the flow go like? I'll discuss a do while loop once, right? And then I'll explain to you when to use a for, when to use a while, when to use a do while, right? And then, we can try to take up that big light thing that you want. Okay. So the last kind of loop that we want to discuss is a do while loop. Do while loop, right? Now, what is a do while loop? Why we didn't use a for loop? Okay. See, technically you can do the same question using a for loop, right? But in such situations, right, where I don't know when the number will go to zero. See, I did not know now when the number will go to zero in 1 iteration, 2 iteration, 3 iterations, 4 iterations. I don't know how many digits are there in the number. So in cases where you don't know after how many times my loop will terminate, a while loop is preferred. I don't know when the loop will terminate. I don't know. This condition might become false after 2 times. This might become false after 20 times. I don't care. So I'm writing a while loop. I don't know when this condition will become false. Okay. Now, let's have a look at a do while loop, and then we'll talk about the fundamental differences between the 3 types of loops. Okay. So what is a do while loop? I'll repeat again. Don't worry. Just give me 5 minutes. Let me complete this also. So what is a do while loop? What is a do while loop, right? So a do while loop is again a very typical kind of a loop, right? It's very, I would say, very less frequently used, and technically in our coding journey we would not be using it more than once, I would assume, right? So what is a do while loop actually? What is the basic structure or syntax of a do while loop, right? So a do while loop looks something like this. Do, okay, then you have curly braces, you write whatever you want to do, while some condition. Okay, this is the basic structure of a do while loop, right? So how does it actually work? See, the basic idea of a do while loop is, first of all, these lines of code will be executed. Then it will go and check the condition. If condition is true, then it will come back and again execute these lines. Again, go and check the condition. The moment the condition evaluates to be false, it will come outside the do while loop. Okay. The funda of a basic do while loop is, irrespective of whether the condition is true or false, the loop will run at least once. This is how it starts, right? I first of all execute these lines of code in the do block, and then only I go to check the condition. So even if the condition is false, then also the do block gets executed once. Okay. So if I write something like this, do SOP, let's say hello world, hello. Okay. Do this while 5 is not equal to 5. Okay. This is a very basic do while loop that I have written, right? Now you see that the condition of the while loop is false. 5 is equal to 5, right? It's not equal to 5, that's false, right? So even if the condition of the while statement is false, right? Still hello will be printed once. Hello will be printed once, right? We didn't use a break. We didn't use a break, right? So when the condition evaluates to be false, you just come outside the do while block entirely, right? So you print hello first. What will happen? First of all, you enter inside the do block, execute the lines of code, you print hello, then you go and check the condition. 5 not equal to 5 is false. Because the condition is false, you come outside the do while block. If the condition would have evaluated to true, you would have gone again and executed the lines of code of your do block. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? Okay. So we might use a do while loop when we, let's say I give you a problem like this. Ki boss, take a number input from the user. Okay. Take a number input from the user and basically keep on taking inputs. Keep on taking input from the user until he enters an even number. Okay. Let's say I give you a question like this. Keep on taking input from user until he enters even number. Let's say I give you a question like this. Keep on taking input from the user until he enters an even number. So tell me, guys, first of all, you will have to take an input and then only you will check whether it is even or odd, right? Your first job should be, irrespective of anything, first take input and then only your condition checking will come into picture, right? So can't I tell you something like this? Do. First of all, take an input. Okay, first of all, take an input. N is equal to whatever. Let's say SC dot next int. First of all, take an input from the user. Okay, do this. Okay, and I will then say while I want to take input till he enters, until he enters an even number, right? So the moment an even number is entered, I should stop. Okay, so what should be the condition I should write here? Can anybody help me? What condition should I write here? Can I say while n percentage 2 equal to 1? See, I take an input. Now see, why is a do while block good here? Why is a do while loop good here? Because first of all, you execute this statement, right? N is equals to sc dot next. First of all, I take an input from the user. And then only I will go to check, is n percentage 2 equal to 1? If it is 1, that means it is an odd number. So I will again come and take an input from the user. Again, he enters an odd number. Again, I will take an input. The moment the user enters an even number, n will be even. So when I go to the while condition check, n percentage 2 will be 0. And thus this condition will be false and I will come outside the do while block. Is it making sense? And now see guys, here I don't know after how many times I will come outside the do while block. If the user is in a good mood, he can give me an even number in the second go itself and I can come outside the do while block. But if the user is in a bad mood, he can enter odd numbers 100 number of times. I don't know, right? I don't know. This is no output. This is a very like a basic code, nothing like you can write for an output. SOP, try your luck again. Something like this. Right? Try your luck again. Okay. Yeah, you just make an end here. Okay. So this is a do while loop. Now, how can you check the while condition? See, I have declared an outside, right? I have declared an outside. So it's visible entirely everywhere. Not an issue. Right? Now. So now I want to discuss the fundamental difference between the three types of loops that we have studied. Why we take n percentage to equal to 1. Okay. So I have to keep on. See, let's try to code this up and then I think it will become more clear. See, I will basically ask the user to enter. See, I want to keep prompting the user till he enters an even number. Okay. So think of it like this. Let me write first of all, do. Okay, do what? Do, I will first print to the user. Try your luck. Yeah, try your luck. Enter again. Okay. I am asking the user to enter again or enter a number, right? And let's say before this, I have made intent import java.util.star. Let's also make a scanner. Okay. Now I have asked the user to enter a number and I'll take input from it int n, n is equal to sc dot next int. Okay, I've taken an input, right? Now I will check after taking the input, I will check while. I'll come to this and I will check while n percentage 2 equal to 1. See, when will n percentage 2 equal to 1? When the number n is odd. So if the number n is odd, the condition will become true and again you will go back to your do block. See, boss, till the point the user is entering odd numbers, you will ask the user to enter the number again. That is why I've written n percentage 2 equal to 1. And the moment user enters an even number, what will happen? The condition of the while block will evaluate to be false and you will come outside the do while loop. Okay, will come outside the do while loop. And I will say println, you cracked the key, whatever. Okay. See, you can, but that is what now. See, you can do the same question using simple while loop also, right? But why I have done it using a do while loop is because first of all, you want to take an input and then only you want to, decide what you want to do. And then you want to repeat that same thing again and again. So this is like a very, very perfect, suitable use case for a do while loop. That first do this, then you will have to do this, but depending on this condition, till as long as this condition is true. Okay. So if I try to run this now and see what happens. So it's asking try your luck, enter again. So let's say I am entering an odd number 35. Try your luck, enter again. I again enter an odd number 79. Try your luck, enter again. I again enter an odd number 13. Try your luck, enter again. The moment I enter an even number, let's say 46, see, you cracked the key. Okay. So the thing is that I don't know how many times this loop is gonna run, right? It depends on the user. Okay. But yeah, this is like a very good application of a do while loop, right? Similarly, menu driven programs, right? If first of all, you take an input from the user and then depending on what the user has given you, you perform some action and then again prompt the user for input. All these are good use cases for do while loops, but do while loops will be used like the least frequently in the course. That is something that I can tell you. If you are comfortable with while loops and for loops, I think that is good enough at the first time. Enter even number at the first time. Okay, let's do that. No problem. So try your luck. You enter even number, you crack the key. Okay. So is everyone clear with a basic do while loop, the working of a do while loop? Yes. Okay. Now let me quickly go and discuss the differences between these three loops and when do you use when. When do you use what loop, right? So the three different kinds of loops, right? When I want to compare is a basic for versus a while versus a do while, right? I want to compare these three loops, right? I want to compare these three loops. When to use when, right? Now see, a do while loop stands very differently, right? A do while loop is standing uniquely on its own, right? When I know that I have to execute something at least once and then only check for the condition, then you go for a do while loop. Okay. When I know that boss, you have to execute some lines of code once and then only you have to go and check the condition and take decisions or do it again depending on that condition, you can go for a do while loop, because a do while loop will execute your statements at least once irrespective of what condition is there. Okay, whether the condition is true or false. Now comes the point of for versus while. When do you use what, right? So as a see, you can use for and while loops interchangeably, right? If you are good in converting, you can use both the loops interchangeably. There is no hard and fast thing that something can be done only via a for loop or something can only be done via a while loop. These two loops can be used interchangeably, right? But as a rule of thumb, I generally prefer, and most people generally prefer that only. If I know how many times my loop should run, if I know how many iterations my loop should run, then I will prefer using a for loop. If I know I have to run the loop for n times, or I have to run the loop for 20 times, or let's say I have to run the loop for, let's say, n times. I know how many times I have to run the loop. Then I will use a for loop. If you know how many iterations or how many times you need to run a loop, go for a for loop, thumb rule. But if I don't know how many times my loop will run, I don't know how many times my loop will run. I am dependent on a condition. The boss, whenever that condition evaluates to be false, my loop should stop running. But I don't know when will that condition become false. I am not in control of that condition, right? I am not sure when will that condition become false. So simply use a while loop, right? So as long as the condition will be true, the while loop will keep on running. The moment the condition becomes false, the loop will stop running. So if you don't know on how many iterations you need to run, I don't know when will the condition become false, then just use a while loop. But if I know that, yes, I want to execute the loop for, let's say, n number of times or 20 number of times or 30 number of times, right? Go for a for loop, right? एक बार हिंदी में बोलता हूँ. How can you come outside a for loop? For now, the only way of coming outside is when the condition evaluates to be false. Tomorrow, I will talk about break and continue, right? So you will understand more things about it. Okay. Okay, somebody has written, can you give an example of how to find the sum of natural numbers using a while loop? Can you guys only tell me? How do I find the sum of natural numbers using a while loop? You can easily do it, right? Try to solve it, right? That's simple. Okay. But yes, rule of thumb एक बार हिंदी में भी बोल रहा हूँ. अगर आपको पता है how many times loop चलने वाला है, मेरे को यदि पता है कि मेरे को 5 बार या 10 बार या 15 टाइम्स लूप को रन करना है, तो आई विल यूज अ फॉर लूप. बट अगर मेरे को नहीं पता है कि लूप कितने बार चलने वाला है, मेरे को बस इतना पता है कि भैया जब तक ये कंडीशन ट्रू रहेगा लूप चलना चाहिए, देन आई विल गो फॉर अ व्हाइल लूप. दैट्स इट, एज सिंपल एज दैट. बट अगेन, in most of the scenarios, for and while can be used interchangeably. But yeah, rule of thumb is, if you know the specific number of times you need to run a loop, go for a for loop. If you don't know how many times the loop will be running, but you know that it is dependent on the condition, go for a while loop. That's it. As simple as this. Okay. And a do while like stands out. Okay. Okay. So how many of you are clear with whatever we have discussed today? Okay. So now what I'll ask you guys, since we are almost time. Okay, tomorrow now what I'll do is more problem solving will do. So what I'll ask you guys to do is, sorry guys, Aaj I think we won't be able to take questions. It's already time, but okay. Okay. So what your job will be, all these questions, right? All these questions now, you can now start to attempt those questions, right? These are all based on loops. You can actually try to attempt these questions. Okay. This module has been opened for you all, and now you can attempt all these questions we have done the theory part at least, right? Now, what I will do tomorrow is we will solve some more questions on loops, right? So for tomorrow, what we will do is, first of all, we will try to introduce the break and the continue keyword. Okay. Two important keywords that are associated with loops. And then we can take up a couple of questions from the portal. Okay. We can take up the big light question if all of you want, right? I can discuss the big light question. So we will do all these things, and we will introduce nested loops tomorrow, right? So for the first 1 hour tomorrow, we will be doing about these single loops only: break, continue, and solving questions. And in the next 1 hour, let's start with maybe nested loops. Okay. Yes, I think we'll take lectures on Saturday and Sunday this time, because it will be more of problem solving oriented, so that we can solve more number of problems and learn. So hopefully, I think one of the feedback was solve more problems and, make learning through problem solving. So I hope whatever amount of problems that we solved today, this is okay for all of you. And I think we can't solve more than this number of problems in the class, but I think we can have some dedicated sessions for problem solving if you want. That is something that we can arrange, right? Need more questions? Okay, sure, right? So last module also, that is what I had done. So on Saturdays and Sundays in the last module, we had exclusive problem solving classes, right? We were solving problems from the portal, problems from outside and everything, right? So that helped the students a lot. So I'm thinking of doing the same for this module also. So we will do it, okay? And yeah, please try to attempt these questions. And I will also share one article with you, one link with you today, okay? There also you have 20 basic question of for loop. Sorry, not for loop, while loop, do while loop, mixture, right? So you can try to solve questions from there also. Jinka portal pe ho gaya, you can solve from there also. They are 20 very basic questions, but at the same time, very, to make sure that you are making sense, right? If I look at the, I remember that, what was that? Okay, I don't exactly remember. I'll search and I'll get back to you on this, right? Okay. Cool, guys. So I think that should be it for today's class. So yeah, you can start solving questions on, this loops, okay? And I'll share all the articles and the extra resource doc that I was telling you. I'll send you that. I'll share the link, and Lakshya will share it with you all. And yeah, cool. So I think I'll stop sharing, stop the recording.